For number 1, we have 78 equals 13n. Now another way of writing that, another way of thinking about that is 78 equals 13 times n. So if the n and the 13 aren't together like this, that means that there is an implied multiplication symbol in between, but we don't put the multiplication symbol. So what we have to do is do the opposite or the inverse of multiplication, which is division. In order to isolate n, we're going to have to divide by 13. Remember, what you do to one side of the equation, you also have to do to the other side of the equation and divide by 13. So 78 divided by 13 is 6. So we have 6 equals, now 13 divided by 13 is 1. You don't need to put 1, so those will cancel out, so you just could put n equals 6. For number 3, we're going to draw a line down the middle of the equation, down the middle of the equal sign, and we're going to put L for left to the left side of the equal sign, and then we're going to put R for the right side of the equal sign. Now we have to locate where is our variable. Remember, variable is just another word for letter. So the letter here is on the left side, V. So we want to isolate the V, but what else is on the left side? Also on the left side is that 20. So in order to get the V by itself, we have to move the 20 to the right side, this 20 to the right side of the equation. Just like we did in number 1, we had to determine what operation is on the left side of the equation. The operation is this division sign. So it's V divided by 20. We have to do the opposite of 20. We have to do the opposite of division, which is multiplication. So instead of dividing by 20, we have to multiply by 20 to both sides of the equation on the left and on the right side. So now we have 20 divided by 20, which is 1. So we are left with just V on the left side of the equation. And on this side also, this 20 and this 20. 20 divided by 20 is 1. So we're left with just negative 19. So V will equal negative 19. And that is our solution. You can check your work by substituting negative 19 in for this V. So we'll have negative 19 over 20. Does that equal what's on the right side? Negative 19 over 20. Remember, if there's a negative sign right here, right directly across from this division sign, this negative sign here can go to the 19 or the 20, but not both the 19 and the 20. So that checks. Let's look at number 7. Until we get really good at solving equations, it's always helpful to start by putting a line down the middle of the equal sign. We have 7 that's outside of the parentheses. So we're going to multiply or distribute this 7, and we're going to multiply that 7 times 3, and we're going to multiply the 7 times x. So we're left with 7 times 3, and then this plus sign, plus 7 times x. And that's going to equal negative 56. So what is 7 times 3? 21. Plus 7 times x is 7x. And that's going to equal negative 56. So right now we have to look to see where is the x. Is it on the right side of the equation, or is it on the left side? The x is located right here on the right side of the equation. So we want to move everything else on the other side of the equation. So that means we're going to have to move this 7 and this 21 to the other side, to the left side of the equation, in order to get x by itself. So first we're going to move the 21 by subtracting 21 because it is a positive 21. So we have to do the opposite of that positive 21. Remember, we have to do it to both sides of the equation. Negative 56 minus 21 is going to be negative 77. We have negative 77 equals, right, these two cancel out, we bring down the 7x. Remember, 7x, like we did on the first problem, is the same thing as 7 times x. So we will have to do the inverse, or the opposite of multiplication, and divide by 7, and remember to do that to both sides of the equation. Negative 77 divided by 7 is negative 11. And that equals x. So again, we can check our work by substituting this negative 11 into this x here. Let's see what happens when we do that. So let's make this little area to see if that checks. So we have negative 56 equals 7 times 3 plus negative 11. Alright, 3 plus negative 11 is negative 8. So we have 7 times negative 8. 7 times negative 8 is negative 56. So on the right side is negative 56, and on the left side is negative 56. So that checks, and this here is our answer. For number 13, again, we're going to draw a line straight down the middle of the equal sign. We're going to multiply this negative 6 times the negative 6n, and the negative 6 times positive 2. So it looks something like this. Negative 6 times negative 6n, and then this plus sign, plus negative 6 times 2. And we're going to put equals negative 228. So negative 6 times negative 6n is a negative times a negative is a positive, so we have 36n, plus negative 6 times 2 is negative 12. And that equals negative 228. Again, we have to locate where the variable is. The variable is it on the left side or is it on the right side? The variable is n, so it's on the left side of the equation. So that means we're going to have to move this negative 12 and this 36. So first we're going to add or subtract before we multiply and divide. On this one we have minus 12, so we're going to do the opposite of minus 12, and we're going to add 12 to both sides of the equation. Right, so those will cancel out, and we bring down the 36n, so we have 36n equals, and then negative 228 plus 12 is 216. Negative 216. And we have one more step. 36n is 36 times n, so we have to do the opposite of multiplication and divide by 36. So we're left with n equals negative 216 divided by positive 36 is 6, and then a negative divided by positive is a negative. So this will be our solution, and we can double check by substituting negative 6 in for this n. Let's see what happens. So we have negative 6, let's make this little space here to check our work. Negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6 plus 2. Does that equal negative 228? Let's see. Let's work inside the parentheses first. So negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36. Then positive 36 plus 2 is positive 38. Does that equal negative 228? Let's see. Negative 6 times 38 is indeed negative 228. So the left side of the equation equals the right side of the equation, and that checks. So our solution is n equals negative 6.